Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Part 15. In the previous video we finished up our initial investigation period of Chapter 3 and now we are kicking off the trial where we are defending someone who we don't really know why they're supposed to be guilty or why they picked us. We're a little in the dark here, if we're being honest, but Emma's gonna rep it for us. Alright? Murderous circumstances. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. What about us? At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. Went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. What are you talking about? It was lucky the detective was the first on the scene. Well, technically she was tied for first. That door was the only way out of that room. Yeah, pretty much. I don't get it. How can they say Mikey did it? Looks like we need a bit more information. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. You're lucky I can't vibe check your ass, because your vibes are all off. The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes? That's right. What was a detective doing on security detail, might I ask? Someone's gotta buy these snackos. It was only a concert. My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods. Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, I'm gonna explain. I smelled something that day, you might say. The stench of conspiracy. Also, my bandmate had eggs for breakfast. That day at the concert hall. Conspiracy. Well, and it's obvious. My keys that whole morning, no, the whole day was ruined. It's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case. It's always gonna make me smile. He's how he talks about his damn hog. Here he goes again. Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander into murder victims' hand on their own. Yo, you're getting ahead of yourself. What's this, Prosecutor Gavin? If your keys are in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect. Yeah, alright, that's cool facts and logic, but how does it jive with this sweet air guitar solo? You think I'm still guilty? No? Haha, that's what I thought. Love, slow acting and new. Atraquine is waiting for you. He's singing something. Everything with this guy to be so over the top. The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor, adrift on a sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task. I see, I can accept that. Well, I can't. What do you mean, time on their hands? Please, testimony. You're being pressed? We were let in, though. I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you. I gave the Fräulein special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again. Cringe. Oh boy, you hear that? We're officially involved now. Gee, great. Some other hanger-ons tried to get backstage, but I drove them off. So no other outsiders were there then. What about the magician? And then, granted, he could be a member of the band. It's possible. We don't know yet. I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots. You were the one chatting. I was eating snackos. Hey, no snacking in court. That's my job. And you're sure the shots came from Lemiro's room? Absolutely. Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. You know, so you can be quiet. To talk. Hey, thanks. So, how about it, Emma? You were right there. Hard to be mistaken about that. Please either talk or eat, not both at the same time. Bailiff, I want snackos. Bailiff. Right. So after that, me and Mr. Lawyer there opened the dressing room door. Rock? Blaring, yes. When you say rock, are you referring to perhaps this rock and roll music so popular these days? That's right. We went into that dressing room. Music was blaring over the speaker on the wall. They piped sound from the stage into the backstage through the speakers. That way people in the back can hear when they're supposed to be on stage. Did it have to be so loud? You don't listen to the Gavineers with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always had the backstage monitors at full volume. We walked into the room. The band was playing Guilty Love, I believe. Oh, so you know the songs? Making it easy to determine the time of the crime. Huh. You can hear that music playing. Everyone on stage to that song has an alibi. Well, maybe not everyone. Including myself. Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. So I was snacking, right? And then... How could you know something like that? As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen. We know there was only one exit from the room, that door. A small window only opened a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of that door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? Only one possibility. The air vent. Ah! The air vent was too small. Who could possibly... Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the killer... I mean, you can't just assume that there was nobody else small there. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. A child. Or that nobody could have, you know, fit through. I don't know. It seems like kind of a leap. Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed. Plus, Chickadee, she's small. She could probably fit. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you gotta charge, Trucy as well. Of all the people involved with the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child. But a friend, the pixie of the arpeggio filtered up towards the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. And plus, you also can't assume that there's only one way out immediately. I don't know. For all we know, the killer was hiding in the room the whole time. We just never saw him. That's just conjecture. There was no other way out of that room. You were there. You should know her forehead. And there's another vital piece of evidence. I don't know. I just hope you guys have more if you're going to arrest me and charge you with murder. Marks are found in the air vent grill. Traces that have recently been opened. Wait, what? And something else was found, quite clearly. The defendant. Maki Tobei's fingerprints. Okay, well, shit. Alright, yeah, you kind of got me then. Yeah, alright, you get his ass. Order, order, order! Really glad I put that on a tape recorder so I don't actually have to say it. I can just hit the button. That air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, her forehead? What fairy tale does this suggest to you? Jack and the Beanstalk? Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven. And that one is our pixie. Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience. This is his decisive evidence? Quite decisive, indeed. I believe it's enough of that. Prosecution is a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive. I believe hard enough to determine our verdict. Even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit. I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That ought to be enough. Can't be over already. I mean, I feel like you would need more of a, you know, link to the actual murder weapon and stuff like that, but, you know, whatever. The defense has no contradicting evidence. Prosecution has presented our proof clear and plain. You have contradicting evidence. Better be clear and plain. Apollo, they've got us on the ropes already, but I mean, they really don't. We have a very clear counterpunch. We better come up with something quick. I know. Think, what can get us out of this? We need evidence or a witness that can prove Maki is innocent beyond a doubt. Not that. And we haven't even, like, you know, we don't know if he has an alibi. We don't know where he was. We know nothing about, like, what he was doing during the supposed time. You should 100% establish that first. You have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it now. This is it. And so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. The court wants contradicting proof? Well, so I mean, there's the gun, right? I mean, they've explicitly stated many times that, you know, the gun being used by an untrained person would cause damage to them. He's a tiny little boy. Based on what the game is saying, he should not be able to shoot that. Now, in the real world, yes, you can shoot that gun without, you know, causing yourself physical harm, even as a 14-year-old. But I feel like the game has tried to make us think that's not the case. But then also, I'm like, shouldn't we just call this lady as a witness? I feel like calling her as a witness makes the kind of the most sense. Because I don't know. Because I mean, I feel like there's kind of equal arguments for both, which is that like, I didn't actually mean to click that. I meant to click the, up here in the corner, the show evidence again. Well, I guess we made our decision for us, because I was kind of, because like, I don't know. Because, I mean, I feel like calling a witness would move the case along more. And, like, obviously we want Chickadee to testify. Because she could provide an alibi for him, potentially. Because we still don't, like, we know nothing about where he was during all this. But, I mean, we'll try the gun first. But I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if this is wrong. How do I present it? Oh, I hit it too soon. This should be interesting. What sort of evidence? Yes, what sort of evidence? Okay. The evidence does more than contradict. It flips the whole case on its head. Alright. It, doesn't do anything. Alright. Alright, guess that wasn't it. Alright, can we call a witness then? Evidence or a witness? Yep. Mm-hmm. To be fair, I was still in the process of thinking, and I just kind of clicked by accident. Because I was trying to click up in the corner, and I just clicked on present evidence. Because I guess I saw evidence, and I'm like, ooh, I want to look at the evidence. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely, I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. And my million-seller hit song, Atraquinine, My Love, Atraquinine? I don't know. There he goes again. It's too bad, because there was a witness. Really now? How did you come to possess knowledge the prosecution clearly does not? Dude talked to us. Said there was a witness. Because I'm the only one in the world who knows this. You may be saying, I could be lying then, because no one can prove that this was said. Yeah, alright. Shut up. Bro, are they gonna do a fourth flashback of this shit? He's alive. Mr. Latus, can you hear me? Cold, so cold. Witness! You're cold, don't worry, you're gonna be fine. Help us on the way. Can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latus. Tell me who the witness. The witness. Witness is Cyrene. What? The victim said this before he died. Perhaps he did, perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is that her forehead says he said. I mean, yeah, I feel like this has happened like 18,000 times in the previous games and no one ever calls him on it. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. I mean, it's like basically all of our evidence that we're like, hey, we found this in an incriminating location. Can we prove that we actually found it where we say we found it? No. But you'll just have to take our word for it. But it's the truth. He said it. I haven't told you about it. But apparently you ignore me completely. It's not policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours, unknown to the prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty. Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for. I'm backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness. Lammeror. Recall Mr. Latus's last words. Are they out of their fucking mind? There have been 5 flashbacks to this one sequence of dialogue in an hour. We literally just had a flashback to this flashback. I almost want to stop playing out of protest because that shit is so stupid. It's like so insulting to my intelligence. The siren! Ah, you meant the siren! That's right, the siren of the ballad. Lammeror. Lammeror was only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin. That claim still stands. There were no witnesses to this crime. Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? Let's take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show this lady to the stand. Lammeror would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. They will drag that story out of her no matter what it is. No matter what kind of vibe she has. My distinct honor to welcome the siren of the ballad to our courtroom. What do you sound like? I don't even remember. You are too kind. Something like that. You can speak English. Yes, I can. Though I am not very good. There is much I do not know. You speak so well. You spent time here before? Actually, I do not know how I came by the knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it. What? What does she mean she doesn't know? I too thought the caller was a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? Lammeror suffers from amnesia. Amnesia? Lammeror is not my true name, yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Oh, she's even more mysterious than I thought. As lauded singer Lammeror, she lives a good life. A little difficult is for her, thanks to her success. Yet I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress. I see. Okay, so is she Trucy's mother? Is that what we're going for? Because they have brooches. They have brooches. She doesn't remember anything. Ages kind of check out. I'm guessing that's what they're going for. I care surprisingly little about people's past. There's nothing to fear in this court. Do they look similar? I don't know. Do you guys look similar? You got blue eyes, brown hair. You got kind of blue eyes, brown hair. Yep, 100%. Calling it. Calling it! Locking in my answer. Final answer. There's something I do not understand. I am being called as witness, what might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened. Lammeror, let me be frank. I don't know what to ask you up here to testify. Yet that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand. Oh my! Is this a marriage proposal? Congratulations, Apollo, you're the bad guy! Wow, now you're here. Please give us your testimony. Nothing else. The sound of your voices. Welcome. I am recording it. I'm going to release it as a mixtape. That was what you saw the night of the crime. I'm going to put this bad boy on eBay. Make so much dosh. That's what the kids are saying these days, right? That's what I saw. I saw nothing. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and I did. I did not return backstage after the second set, when I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That was when I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the detail. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I guess I say you sound wonderful to us testifying. Kind of sound like me, if I really think about it. Maybe I could be a singer. Yeah. Judge Justice, singer extraordinaire. Like the sound of that. I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now we can only pray the defense has the sense to admit defeat. And refrain from detaining her longer than need be. Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go. Yeah. Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet. Himura wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. I saw nothing. How can you see nothing? Your eyes are always working all the time. You definitely saw something. You're always intaking light, and then your brain is interpreting that as data. You must have seen something. Mr. Lettuce named you. Lettuce? How can I tell you what I do not know? Lemuror, he said you were a witness to with his dying words. I don't know what he mean to say, but that night I was invited to sing like a ghost. It was a great concert. You heard me sing? Thank you. I might get an autograph later, actually. Of course. Mr. Justice, this is a cross-examination. You're out of line. I mean, unless you get me one. Or 8. The one who does an autograph here, it's me. One on my gavel would be nice. Herr Judge. What's this? It's my autograph. Now keep the trial moving. What? Oh, my grandchildren will be so happy. Apparently his grandson's a big fan. Let's continue, shall we, if you would? Tell us what you did after your stellar performance. I have been depressed. I will now say the words. You did not return backstage once. What were you doing then? I was cleaning up on stage. There are many things I must do for a performance other than simply sing. And was Maki with you at the time? Unfortunately, I do not know where he was. So much for an alibi. You're looking differently here. I want to vibe check you. With Maki, correct? How was he then? He seemed as he always does. So I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Lettuce's death. Yet, he is not the type to show much emotion. Yeah, he's giving the police no end of headaches. He answers most questions with silence, and those glinting frames speak nothing. Dude can't speak English, dumbass. Of course he's gonna answer with silence. Questioning hasn't gotten very far. He sat there, waiting. How was the incident explained to you? I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Lettuce died. Of course, investigation requires some security. But Mr. Lettuce is my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. Both Maki and I were beside ourselves with concern. And maybe she's going to give some details that she shouldn't know? I might apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark is as painful for me as it was for you. I understand. Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony? It's hard to imagine Lemuror lying. Not to be lying, but she's hiding something. What wouldn't she tell me during the night of the murder? I don't actually remember. What did we show her that she didn't want to talk about? I mean, I feel like we could only show her the brooch, right? We didn't. She didn't say anything about the keys. Okay, well, I guess we'll just have to go through again. We were led to his dressing room. How was he then? He seemed as he always does. I wasn't told the details. Only that he died. I would apologize, but please understand. I'm not getting nothing here. Said you're a witness of his dying words. I don't remember. It's been a little bit. I mean, I think it's still the same day, but it's been a few hours since we started, or like several hours since we started recording this chapter. So I don't I remember that sequence where she got like spooked about something, but I don't remember. Pretty sure it was just to the idea that she got named, right? But I don't I don't see how that contradicts anything. Oh, wait, go back. Okay, I did not return backstage after the second set. Do we have any... Oh, the brooch, maybe? But, I mean, we don't know when that was left there, but... Okay, do we know that she had the brooch during the stage set? We don't. That alone doesn't prove anything. Okay, I mean, I'm kind of thinking... Because, I mean, this feels like, you know, a definitive evidence that could be contradicted. But, I mean, it doesn't... Safety pin. Because, like, basically, like, there's two... Because, like, my line of thinking is that, okay, so, like, the brooch proves that she was in the backstage at some point. But, like, we have no time frame for that. Right, like, she could have lost... Again, because we don't have a way to prove that she had the brooch on during the performance. And then... Because if she had it on during the performance, and then it got lost in... the room, then that would mean she went in there after, and then she's lying here, but like we don't have anything that proves that. It's not like we have like a picture of the performance or anything. But I mean, I feel like we have nothing to go on other than that. So I'm gonna try it just to eliminate the possibility. Sorry, Lamroar, but I'm having trouble believing you. See, like, I feel like this isn't a... I mean, on one hand, it's like... I feel like there's nothing else, so it kind of has to be this. But... I don't think this is actually, like, a good line of reasoning. Remember this brooch, do you not? That's Lamroar. She was wearing it for a song. See, like... But that hasn't been established yet. Now that you've said that, okay, it makes sense. But prior to that, we did not know that she had this on during her song. The evidence doesn't say anything about she was wearing it during her song. So it's like, unless you were paying attention during the actual opening cutscene like 4 hours ago, which once again, even if you were, you don't have any definitive like proof here. There's no reason that she couldn't just say, oh, I lost it before the show. Because we know she was obviously in her dressing room before the show, so the brooch being there doesn't prove anything, unless you can also prove she had it on during her song, but you don't actually have any evidence that proves that. So that's why I feel like it's kind of a bad line of logic. Now, Clavier does just jump in and confirm it for us, so that's nice. But I feel like it could have easily been that you present the brooch and the game's like, yeah, this doesn't mean anything. Kind of the same way I presented the gun earlier, where like, yes, there's a line of logic there, but it's not what the game wants yet. So that's why I feel so uncertain about presenting the brooch, because it isn't actually a contradiction without supplementary evidence that you have to assume the game is going to make the connection for you. Gotta add that to the testimony. Prosecutor Gavin. What? Brooch was found after the murder took place. The very scene of the crime. Lamroar. How did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin just told us, You've been wearing it to your performance that night. Like, see, if they'd given us, like, a photo of the performance and you could see she had the brooch on, then it makes sense, but you don't have that. You know, you have this, which is just like a... It doesn't mean anything. I guess she has the brooch on there, but that's not of the performance. So yeah, they definitely should have given you, like, a photo of the performance or something. And then it's like, okay, yeah, you found this brooch, but how can you prove that she had it on during the performance? Then you present a picture of the performance. Instead, it's just like, you kind of have to do this leap of logic and hope the game is going to catch you. Which, in the past, the game has not always been very welcoming in that regard. Now, I do think this game is better about kind of catching you sometimes, or like it feels like it encourages the leaps a bit more than like the previous trilogy. Whereas like I feel like the previous trilogy would be very punishing in that regard, where like you would present something and they're like, actually we don't want that yet. We want you to present something kind of random first and then it'll make the connection. What is the meaning of this, Slammy Roar? Please explain. Oh god. He says English is quite difficult. That trick's not gonna work here. She said she wants you to explode. Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer truly. But you have missed one important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. What? Think back on the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak. Is she really saying all that? What's she talking about, Apollo? Right when the incident occurred. You talking about that? What's this room for me? I have to call for backup. Oh yeah, there was that noise. Right, understand. You want to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latus, can you hear me? I am back. You cannot get rid of me. Despite being killed instantly at the start of this trial, through these flashbacks, I will survive longer than any other side character in the history of the franchise. That is my master plan. Bahaha. Bahaha. I'm actually losing my fucking mind. This flashback. I mean, you could have, like, just cut his speech and cut to here with the noise. I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you. This is when your brooch dropped? That doesn't even make any damn sense. What the fuck are you talking about? She looked in the room and the brooch got, like, knocked 7 feet into it? It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it. That's ridiculous. You only looked up for an instant you dropped your brooch? I mean, at least the game says it's bullshit. He has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence. So she looked down at the crime scene. Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course, but the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice. Her forehead shouting, "Who's there?" no doubt. A horrible voice indeed. I closed the door immediately. Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony. It's too convenient. She's hiding something. Slammy Roar, you did look into the room though, right? Yes. Testify as to what you saw. Very well. There was only the briefest of glimpses. Your ass will be vibe checked. I mean, I guess we'll press you first and then vibe check you. For the content? What'd you see in that brief glimpse? I had only opened the door suddenly when I heard the horrible voice. I don't know if your voice was that horrible. I think the voice actually probably sounded quite similar to yours. Personally. I've always wondered her forehead. Is that voice of yours like a volume knob? It's my cords of steel, man. Just back off. Okay, this is actually a whole full new testimony. There's multiple lines. A wall. Was there a wall there? Is there? Yeah, kinda. It looks like it on the diagram. I can't really remember the room. Arrow, little bright shiny thing, goat alien is what in English? A division or partition, I believe. Okay, yeah. I see it now. And the murder took place on the inside half. I guess that partition might have hidden the body. Okay, so these are the two new lines. And let's try vibe checking your ass on this one. He sort of twitches or anything, any shifty eyes. And oh wait. Is she wiggling more? I couldn't tell if she was wiggling extra. There was extra wiggle in the second line. Or if it was just because, like, when she stopped, it seemed extra wiggly when she started talking again. I mean, it feels like she's going faster, but I don't know if that really means anything. Where are your hands? Show me your hands. Okay, I mean, I feel like we have nothing to go with. Since I don't know where your hands are. I'm gonna... Well, let's check the other new line first. It does seem like she's talking faster. I mean, it's definitely faster, but I don't know if that's just because, like, it's a longer sentence, so it's animated faster, if that's supposed to... Oh, the damn... Gulpy. She gulping. I wasn't far down enough. The late Mr. Latusa's body, you say? Yes? You know something more about Mr. Latusa's death than you're saying. What? I can see you try not to remember. But the effort made you swallow. Yeah, that's how I know you're a murderer. You swallowed while giving public testimony. Ha ha! It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latusa have to be shot? One moment, Lemuror. Yes? What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latusa have to be shot? Yes? He was hiding something, I knew it. Lemuror, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but... your words just now contradict your testimony. How could that be? Take this. Contradict her own testimony and I have the evidence to prove it. Well, I mean, she shouldn't know that he was shot. Like we didn't... Maybe the investigation request? Because we weren't supposed to tell her anything. She shouldn't know this information. But I guess this? Tell me, Lemuror. How do you know he had been shot? Well, I immediately followed the incident. A gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. Your testimony you told the court. No one told me anything about the incident. Are you trying to mock me, Mr. Phoenix Wright? No. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. And you knew that Mr. Latusa had been shot. How could you have known? York! Wowzer, Scoob! They're really on to us now! Lemuror! You aren't hiding something from this court, I hope? That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet. Now I remember. Please allow me to enter my testimony. Of course. We always want liars to talk more. Well, all we want to know is the truth. You look kind of pale, huh? I mean, you look kind of pale. She saw something, I know it. Even the victim said so. I saw bullet holes in the wall, and I knew Mr. Latusa had been shot. Only a glimpse that you knew there were bullet holes? Yes, I recognize them immediately. I have seen bullet holes before, you know. You've traveled the world as a singer. You must have sung in places far more dangerous than our country. Actually, no. America is the most dangerous place. Or at least probably like top 10. I go wherever my voice is needed. Those places are many these days. That's really cool. I hope I get to travel like Lamior someday. Plan on recording my next album overseas. Their studios have a different sound, you know? Maybe I should go on a Chords of Steel tour too. So that's the only new thing. Well, let's look here. I mean, if you're looking in, you shouldn't be able to see the bullet holes. Just due to the angle? Is it as simple as that, or is there something more? I mean, I feel like it's just gotta be that. That just the angle doesn't line up. Maybe why they call you the Siren of the Ballad. The lies are hardly becoming of such a creature. Good timing, Trucy, even though you probably should have maybe played this earlier when we vibe checked her ass and you played like the kind of light track. But you know what? This is you got cases to learn. You got cases to learn, Trucy. Put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice. Such put-downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo. Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, yeah? Come on, can't I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lamior, you looked in from the door for just a moment? Correct? Oh, yeah, is that supposed to be the door opening? I wasn't really sure what that was supposed to be. The little, line there, but yeah, okay, that's supposed to be the door. I guess I was kind of assuming it opened outwards anyway. But yeah, that makes sense. It is so. There were bullet holes in the room, yes? I mean, in theory, you don't ever want doors to open outwards, but, you know, sometimes they do. But they were on the wall, the door is on. Eh? You see? Assuming you merely glance into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes. York! Lamior. Yes? Right, the defense has raised a good point. It appears you've been holding back something. Man, that's crazy. I think I was gonna execute someone mere moments ago. Really says a lot about our society and how much power justice wields. Bailiff, did you get my snackos? Yeah, sometimes you gotta laugh at your own jokes every once in a while. Or all the time. Every video. Constantly. And I must tell you what it is that I saw. Yes! Happenings in this trial are being recorded. And I'm certain it will be on the news in Borgina. I understand your reputation is at stake. And it falls to you to avoid tarnishing it. Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. Must have seen something. Very well. Do your thing, girl. Very well, I shall. Do my thing, as you Americans say. You people claim to be in America, but I must say it doesn't really feel like it at times. It's very strange. I was on my way back to the stage from the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Maki. It was a grown person. I know it was. Well, you did witness the crime. What? Why didn't you say it earlier? Why'd you hang Maki out to dry? I was literally about to execute his ass. And the killer was a grown person, you say? Shit. I mean, the killer was a grown person, you say? Judge, did you just copy her speech? Yes, sorry, it happens. This is the first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, her forehead. Very well. Mr. Justice, you have begun your cross-examination. Great going, Apollo. You were right about her. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. The whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Oh, Mr. Justice, that might be my fish. Sorry. I really did expect this case to end soon. So, we're having lunch a little earlier. Don't worry, I'm listening. I'm just gonna eat it right here instead. So you were heading towards the dressing room? Yes. This is a little before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her brooch. About the same time Emma and I heard those shots. I was on my way back. What exactly is something like a little window? Yes, well, window is the best word I know in English. I think that is how it is said, yeah? Do not worry, Lemuroy. Your choice of words is impeccable. There is a small window in the dressing room in question. Think about it. Kind of weird there's a window in the dressing room, but you know, whatever. As the defense remembers this detail. A little window on the wall. Yeah, saw the crime scene from there. There were 2 shots. You're certain you heard 2 shots fired? Yes, quite certain. I was on my way back from the backstage exit. That was when I heard a faint sound, like a gunshot. Wondering what it had been, I peered through the window, to the wall, to the second gunshot. Much closer. There were 2 bullet holes at the scene. No contradiction so far. Now, I mean, they were pretty... Well, no, there was a slight pause in them when they happened. Now, of course, we have no... Even if they had been instant, we don't have any evidence of that, so it wouldn't really mean much, but... That all happened on the other side of that window. There was nothing I could do. It wasn't Maki? It wasn't Maki who shot. You sure? Yes, quite certain. So, like, you could have been a witness to his innocence earlier and you didn't say anything? Seems kind of sus. It amuses me you would question her testimony. It is testimony in your favor. Isn't it my job to object? Yeah, Paula, what were you thinking? Trucy, let's just listen to what she has to say. Can you tell me how you were so sure? Of course, you see? He was not a little petite, as you say. A grown person? That's a little vague. I am sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know. Hardly you could at least say whether the shooter was male or female. It was a man, a young man. When you're sure of that, he looked like he had spikes coming from his head, like the devil. Yes, his voice was quite clear. Voice. Look at this diagram. It seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter. As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man. You heard a voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche? Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known. If only we had some sort of flashback so we could remember what he sounds like. Indeed. You were at the window, and you heard the shooter's voice, and the voice of a young man. Paul, this is good testimony. That person wasn't Maki. Indeed. This turns out to be true. It would cast his case into a considerably different light. What's the defense's opinion on this testimony? I mean, my brain says that's some fire testimony. No more objections, Your Honor. My heart says obviously something's wrong, but I don't actually know what's wrong. I mean, I feel like this is a moral check. You know, do we strive for the truth? Or do we take the easy way out? It pains me to say this. Something about Lemuroy's testimony that it rings false. Yeah, Apollo, go ahead and tell him what's false about it, though. Bravo, her forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. Yeah. As has been established, no grown man could pass through the air vent. Couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. That means Lemuror has to be lying. I know it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. Is this her forehead says? Yet this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. What next? What's he talking about? Lemuror! I understand why you would want to protect Maki. But remember, you are the scion of the ballad. And lies do not become such a creature. What's the prosecution mean? Paula, what's he talking about? How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that? I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. State of the room? Yes, when the murder took place, that window was closed. Yeah, and? I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it. I mean, you could hear gunshots. Why wouldn't you be able to hear a voice? It's just glass. What? But I'm sure... Lemuror. I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. No, like, why wouldn't you be able to hear it? I mean, if there's like, you know, any sort of shouting or yelling and you're right next to it, it's just glass. My opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser. He's the only eyewitness we have. So you say? And the victim named her, the siren as the witness? That's right, that's what Mr. Latouche. We heard your claim, we even entertained the possibility, and it brought us to this. Her judge. Yep. Prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please. Freedom was not on the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of the witness's credibility. I know normally we let him lie like 3 or 4 times before we even entertain the idea that they might be lying, but I guess we'll kind of do it quick this time. But if she can't testify, we don't have a chance of proving Maki's innocence. This cross-examination is over, Prosecutor Gavin. Play us a 6 solo on the way out. Donkey. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, I'd like to hear from Fräulein Detective again. Wait, let me hear her testimony one last time. Cross-examination's already over. I said it's over, alright? Till such a time as a need arises. This witness may leave the stand. I'm sorry, I could not be of more assistance. At last, back to the real trial. Ready, her forehead? Hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Fräulein Detective, how far have we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted? Don't ask me. I dislike saying the same thing twice, and I never repeat a song for an encore. If you would, Miss Guy. I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latouche's killer could have escaped was through that air vent on the ceiling. Yeah, so there was only one door in the room. And a witness, you, were standing in front of it. That air vent isn't very big, see? Kind of limits the people who could possibly get through. I certainly would have a difficult time. You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the conditions of our killers that offend it. A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself. Huh. He does state a queer case. Alright, fine. Let's execute someone. I really need to go. Oh, reading the report, something caught my eye. What's that? Circumstances of the defendant's arrest. Circumstances? Again? Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Maki? That was bizarre. He's right. Why did Mr. Latouche's body disappear from the room? Yeah, how's somebody supposed to move his big ass? End up on top of that stage tower. Holding a guitar, no less. Perceptive observation, her judge. Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. I, kind of splotched a little ketchup on it when I was eating my fish, and I was trying to wipe it off, and then I noticed it, and, you know. When you've worked on the job long enough, you get a nose for these things. The judge sure seems pleased with himself. Very good, Fräulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? How does that lead us to the killer? I don't know. I believe Maki stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lemur's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Maki practically left his signature at the scene. All this evidence clearly points to the defendant. Lemur's song? Yes, the Guitar Serenade. You noticed its code too, did you not? It's code. All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. First, the keys my heart held onto so tightly were stolen. Then prosecutor's Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Otusa's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. That's mad! That's like a story out of some fairy tale. I admit I've forgotten about that song. Here it is now, waiting for me. The grand finale, as it were. Hey, you know, I was the one who noticed that. Heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs. But killing in the name of, that's crazy. It's a wild world out there, Herr Judge. Very well. You've heard one song and dance. Let's get on to the next, the cross-examination. Not so sure I'm going to be doing much singing. Alright, we will cross-examine old Emma Sky next time. We'll end the first session of trial number 3. Pretty okay so far. I'm liking it. I don't really have any major issues thus far with the plot and whatnot. Just a few little quibbles with some of the, like, you know, the brooch thing, as I've already talked about at length, is kind of a weird leap. It doesn't bother me that much because there is kind of like, I feel like there's nothing else you could present there, so at least it doesn't feel as bad. But it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like I would not have been surprised if the game had been like, no, that's wrong, you know? Like, it's one of those things, like, if the game had said that's wrong, I don't have an argument against it, which is why it feels bad to present, basically. But yeah, we'll investigate with Emma Sky next time. I'm ExtraCheesy87. Stay tuned for the next part. And bye, guys.